What's up, guys? So next we're gonna talk about the cancer pitch, and the cancer pitch, it's actually one of the most important pitches out there, just because cancer anymore, it's almost like it's an epidemic. Everyone knows someone that has been diagnosed with cancer, but a lot of people don't realize the financial troubles that these families go through when a loved one gets diagnosed with cancer. So it's very, very important, to learn this pitch, and practice it as much as you can. So one thing that you want to stay away from when you're in a house, and this is important, stay away from asking a member, does cancer run in your family? To me, I think that's one of the worst questions you can ask in a house. Does cancer run in your family? Just because if they say no, they can always use it as an objection, at the end and say, well, hey man, I told you that cancer does not run in my family. So stay away from that question. What you'd want to do is, the way this cancer pitch is going to be, it's going to be very proactive. So a couple of things that you're going to pay attention to that I'm going to discuss. I'm going to talk about how cancer is an epidemic. It's something that everyone is getting anymore. I talk about how health insurance does not cover everything. I talk about the fact that when you're legally married, it's a situation to where the spouse it's going to be obligated to pay those bills. And the fifth thing is, I talk about protecting your assets. Whether it's a home, whether it's life insurance, savings account. So those those things are always proactively approached in the pitch that I'm gonna do for you guys next. So like I said, it's very important to understand this and implement it, so you can actually help out families out there. So the way I approach the pitch, you never, like I said, you never want to say, you never want to ask them, hey, do you guys have a cancer policy? So the way you want to approach it is, whether cancer is the only pitch that you're doing, or whether it's the next benefit on the expert simulator, you want to start it with this. Guys, this next thing that we're going to talk about, it's one of the biggest concerns that every member has in America. Not just our union members, everybody in America has. And it deals with the all too common problem that no one seems to find a solution for, which is cancer. I mean, guys, nowadays everyone knows someone that had to deal with cancer. Now, you probably already know this, but when it comes to health insurance doesn't pay for all the expenses. We have to come out of pocket with co-pays, deductibles, experimental drugs. Experimental drugs, those are drugs not FDA approved, which means you would have to pay for them out of pocket. Not to mention, with you guys, you guys are legally married, and I'm sure you've been married for a long time. But when it comes to cancer, when you guys said, what's yours is mine, you actually meant the debt too. Because like I said, by law, God forbid, if any of you were to be diagnosed with cancer and you rack up a bunch of medical bills, the remaining spouse is obligated by law to pay those bills. So that's why, when it comes to cancer, it's the biggest concern for everyone in America. Now, right now, you guys are both working, living a lifestyle that two incomes can afford. So if this is the amount of money that you're making, and if these are your expenses, which is not always the case, all of us were pretty much up here with expenses, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But cancer strikes, your income goes down, and expenses go through the roof. Now, when you get diagnosed with cancer, cancer is not a disability. It's not something that you got hurt at work. So if you get diagnosed with cancer and you're out of work, even your health insurance, it's going to go to COBRA. We all know how expensive COBRA is. So that's why those expenses go through the roof. And like I said, as you're going to the doctor, you're not working, you're not getting paid. Parking at the Cleveland Clinic, it's expensive. Driving, back and forth, it's a lot of expenses. That's why families, find it to be the biggest concern, just because you rack up all these medical bills, and if you pass away, the family is obligated. So even when you have a life insurance, I'm sure you guys have been working hard, all these years. You set retirement accounts, you have savings account, you have been paying into a life insurance, but you accumulate a bunch of medical bills, and you pass away. They can go after, those savings account. Now, what you thought was going to pay out to your family as far as life insurance now could potentially go towards, medical bills. So that's why, cancer is the biggest concern, guys. So what they did, what the unions did with American Income, they set up something, well, it's a cancer benefit. So the way that works is it's a policy that would be $100,000 worth of coverage. Okay. And the way this works is it's a systematic payout. So as you're going to the doctors, as you're receiving these treatments, we pay you. We don't pay the doctors, we don't pay the hospitals. The money comes directly to you. So you can use that money and pay for those bills, or you can use that money to pay for, for other things that, you have going on. But guys, the way that they set it up is they set it up with a guaranteed death benefit. Now, cancer, it's a 50% chance that it can happen. So they, so of course it's a huge concern, but they wanted to make sure that if you never got diagnosed with cancer, you're not just, wasting your money by setting it aside. So the way that they set it up, it's almost like an account. And this guaranteed death benefit is funded by whole life. So you're going to accumulate cash value. So let's say 15, 20 years down the line, if you needed money, you can also take money out from your cash value. Guys, here's the thing. Every member that we sit down with, they see the value when it comes to the cancer benefit, because it's such a huge concern. So every member that we sit down with, they want to enroll to make sure that they protect their loved ones and all of their assets. But the problem is that not every member gets to be approved. So at this point right now, I don't even know if this is even something that we can help your family out with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and ask you some health questions, to see if this is even something that something that you and your family could be protected from. So now, at that point, you want to jump straight to the questions. So if you paid attention, what I did what's called PSTA. I created the problem, by talking about how big of a concern cancer is. I showed the solution, which is, the policy and, the guaranteed death benefit. So I did the takeaway. If you paid attention, I said, guys, every member that we sit down with, they want to enroll into the benefit, because they see the value of protecting their family, but I don't even know if this is even something that we can actually, get you approved for. So at that point, what I said is, what I'm gonna do, it's keyword. What I'm gonna do, so continue. You have the momentum. Continue going to the question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some health questions to see if this is even something that we're going to be able to help your family out. Once you jump to the health questions, at that point, what you'd want to tell them, you assume the sale. So problem, solution, takeaway, assume the sale, PSTA. At that point, guys, based on the questions that I asked, I'm not the underwriter, but like I said, all we can do is send in the application, have them have it approved. Once they approve, the application, then you're going to be all set. You have your life insurance in place. You have a lot of it. You're going to have your cancer, policy in place, so you don't have to worry about it. Now you can just live your life, very happy, worry-free. So in order for me to send in the application, do you guys have your driver's licenses on you?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go ahead and grab your driver's license, and then we'll go ahead and, we're going to go ahead and put this in place for you. So at that point, jump to the Q&R checklist. But like I said, don't be afraid don't be afraid to discuss this with the members. When you're in a house, you're the authority. Like, you're the one that are telling them, you're the one that are going to be helping and protecting their family. So be confident and make sure you practice this pitch, because you can, and trust me, you can save a family's situation financially by enrolling them into the cancer policy. All right.